At nagbabalik po ang memo ngayong umaga na ikaw ba ay nalilitong lalo o palagay ko naman parang malinaw naman, ano? Nalilinawan na tayo ng kaunti tungkol sa testimonya nitong mga parang star witness kung tutuusin na 18 Maleta Boys.
Kailangan talaga isa-isahin natin yung statement nila tapos ibabangga natin kung paano nag-evolve yung initial statement nila sa sinasabi nila ngayon.
So sino ang magdedesisyon ngayon who to strike out? Because if there is any one of those 18 who is not consistent, siguro dapat patalsikin na. Ano yan, kahit sinong loko-loko ilalagay mo dyan para magsalita?
Oo. Kaya parang issue din, Corina, yung validity nung appearance nila sa Senado.
Yes.
Kasi kung legal yun, may effect yun, diba? Kung
Yes,
formal
kung legal.
hearing yun, oo.
Oo.
Kung hindi, para siyang press con. Pero may pananagutan pa rin kasi statements were made in public.
Correct.
Oo.
So kung sila ay umappear sa korte ni Senator Win Gatchalian, baka mayroong action na pagka malinaw na nabara na siya na nagsisinungaling or hindi factual, pwede nang i-strike off the
record.
list of those 18. At meron pang 14 daw na dadagdag, ano? Okay, patuloy ang mga usapin sa loob ng Kongreso at Senado. At hindi lang po ito usaping politika kundi usaping legal din. At mainit pa rin ang debate tungkol sa kung tama ba ang naging interpretasyon ng mga panuntunan ng Kamara at Senado, kung may mga provision bang kailangang amyendahan.
Tapos kasabay pa nito, usap-usapan din ang testimonya ng 18 bagmen na humarap sa pagdinig ng Senado. Matapos questionin ng ilang mambabatas ang ilang bahagi ng kanilang mga pahayag, lumitaw ang tanong, sapat na ba ang mga umunoy inconsistencies para barilin ang kanilang testimonya?
Ang tanong dyan, sinong babaril? Diba, no? Kasi parang medyo kinakanlong sila ng kabilang bloke. Tapos ito namang kabilang bloke ni Gatchalian, hindi naman nila sinipot. Para tulungan po tayong himayin ang legal naman na aspeto ng mga isyong ito. Kasama natin ngayon si Associate Dean Paulo Tamase. Welcome back to Memo, Attorney.
Good morning, Willard, Corina, and sa inyong viewers.
Good morning, sir. Sir, first of all, ano ho ba yung constitutional and procedural requirements before a member of Congress can be expelled or removed from office? Ito ay kaugnay pa rin doon sa pagkakatanggal kay Cavite Congressman Kiko Barsaga.
So if titignan natin yung Constitution, very simple yung pinoprovide niya, no? Yung power ng House kasi and yung Senate minsan to remove its own members, kailangan may 2/3 vote ng buong kapulungan. So all of the members na naman. Ibig sabihin nun, kailangan bumoto yung 2/3 ng lahat ng membership ng House of Representatives upang ma-expel yung kanilang member. Pwede din sila magpataw ng mas mababa na penalties, suspension, censure, but ito hindi naman required na 2/3 vote. But yung common na pinoprovide ng Constitution natin is punish sila in accordance with their own rules. No? So in this case, you see na autonomous yung House and yung Senate in disciplining their own members.
So kumbaga, in the end, it is still a political forum, as a political exercise, and thereby the numbers still win, regardless of logic.
Yes, so 2 quick points siguro ko on that. Though. The first is, hindi naman yan necessarily unconstitutional. Democratic yung saligang batas natin which means that majority wins talaga in most instances. But that said, may limits yung constitution natin as to when the majority doesn't win, and they include potential violations of free speech and other constitutional rights. So pagdating dito sa case ni dating Congressman Kiko Barzaga, if you look at his situation, yung penalty kasi pertain to certain statements he made in and out of the House. Yung sinasabi niya sa House mismo, protected yon ng Constitution in the sense na hindi siya pwedeng makasuhan ng libel or defamation outside, but pinipreserve yung power inside. And yet, it doesn't mean na kahit may exclusive and almost, overpowering ability yung House to remove their own members, na hindi sila subject to freedom of expression issues. And I think in his case, though, there are legitimate questions kung patas ba and constitutional yung pagtanggal sa kanya, except na hindi yun necessarily pwedeng ibahin or i-reverse ng Supreme Court.
Kasi in history, pangatlo pa lang si Congressman Barsaga na-expel. Which makes you wonder, I mean, what does it really take? Ganun ba talaga kagrabe yung kanyang ginawa? For example, in the Senate, I think they probably have a parallel course of action for a fellow senator who needs to be expelled. So, does that also explain kung bakit hindi pa nila ine-expel, halimbawa ang tulad ni Ginoong Bato de la Rosa na napakatagal nang hindi sumisipot sa plenaryo? That it
Yes,
is
so this
because
is
of political reasons.
Yes, this is a complex dynamic that you can see in the House and the Senate. If you look at the three examples of expulsion na nabanggit mo, I think the first one, which is in the 1900s, was for violent behavior, parang may crime na ginawa, sorry. And then yung kay Senator Teves naman, among others, chronic absenteeism. Itong first time na to yung expulsion for something that was said, no? So for words. And usually yung words kasi protected yan sa Constitution. In fact, the Constitution protects yung annoying, irritating, even offensive words, no? As long as may certain limits. And yung limits na yun, sobrang taas ng threshold bago siya maging valid. Kasi, again, part of the democratic character of the country, but also especially of Congress. Kasi Congress expected talaga na intense yung usapin and debates minsan. On the Senate's part, regarding Senator Bato, hindi sila kasi bound by what the House did kay Congressman Teves. No? If you look at Congressman Teves's case, yung absenteeism niya dahil yung I think nasa abroad siya, no? Hiding against the murder charges, parang yun yung ginamit ng House na dahilan. But you also have to contextualize na hindi naman si Congressman Teves yung unang House member na laging absent. So it might be a way of protecting yung legitimacy ng House, no? Or yung public respect for it. Kay Senator Bato naman, of course, political considerations will also come in. So all of this said, no, parang malaki yung leeway na binibigay natin sa Congress to self-police. And yet it doesn't mean na hindi sila ideally dapat nagsusubscribe to certain constitutional values.
Ayun. So, kumbaga, talagang majority wins, period. Yun lang yun, hindi ba?
Oh, pero kailan di naabot sa isang constitutional question ang isang expulsion? Yun ay kung may mga karapatan siyang nilabag ng kanyang mga kasamahan.
In theory, yes, no. But I think ito yung one of the more complex aspects of the way that the Constitution works. So yung Constitution kasi directed yan at all branches of government, whether the court siya or the Senate or the President. When they act according to their official functions, they actually implement parts of the Constitution. Kasi all public officers take an oath to uphold it. No? So, ibig sabihin nun, lahat ng public officers, when they act, they implement parts of their constitutional power. But yung reality is that while many cases of constitutional violations will get to the courts, there are some cases where yung courts avoid it for reasons of separation of powers, to preserve yung respect for the other branches. Parang wini-weigh ng Constitution and the courts yung instance na yun na while there may be a constitutional violation, mas malaki yung harm kapag pumasok kami. So pagdating dito sa issue ng expulsion, historically ito talaga yung isa sa hindi pinapakialaman ng courts yan. No? Hindi sila pumapasok dyan kasi malinaw sa constitutional text natin yung exclusivity ng power of the House. If the House got it wrong, then yung response to that is democratic as well. No? Don't vote for the representatives, senators who committed that constitutional violation, if there was. So you can also see that in the Senate. No? Yung issue, for example, doon sa leadership changes nila ngayon, there may be or may not be constitutional issues. It doesn't mean na yung court will necessarily have to get involved or will want itself to be involved.
Okay. Regarding the impasse now that we are suffering from in this from the Senate, ano po ang inyong opinion? How is this going to be resolved?
So this is one of those issues where you can see yung developments on a day-to-day reflect collective constitutional understanding natin. So if you go back just less than a week ago, no Wednesday, parang ang dami pang issues Nagka-quorum ba? Were there enough votes to remove yung officers? But I think just in the last 5 or 6 days, you start to see some recognition, at least from institutions of diagonal accountability like yung media, yung universities natin, even the executive and the Senate's own bureaucracy na mukhang nagkaroon ng recognition na bago na yung majority ngayon. So you have, on the one hand, Senator Win Gatchalian's body, which really leads the Senate now, 12 to 10, in terms of functioning senators. Kasi si Senator Bato cannot be found. Si Senator Jinggoy cannot participate because he's under detention. So even if it's less than 13, clearly 12 is more than 10. And yung functional, pragmatic argument nila, possibly even structured argument nila is tinakda ba talaga ng Constitution na maging sobrang useless ng Senate na kahit majority sila of 12 to 10, hindi sila makakapag-function. So I think people recognize on the whole na nag-shift yung majority to Senator Gatchalian's group. Yung persistent question na lang is whether Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano is still Senate President. And I think babalik tayo dun sa usapan natin for the last week about does he have the majority of all of the members. So even on this issue, there are emerging views. Justice Carpio, I think, has been interviewed on several occasions where he says na, and I think reflecting a view of another academic, Professor Carlo Cruz, na binibilang lang dapat dyan yung functionally able to participate in the Senate. Kasi otherwise, you would invite paralysis in the institution, which is what we're starting to see in some aspects. But meron pa rin hardline views from Senator Cayetano na very textual yung basa nila sa Constitution na 13 talaga. It says, majority of all of the members. And since 24 pa rin naman yung senators, even if dalawa doon hindi nakaka-attend ng session, 13 daw yung kailangan na number. So hard to see where we're going there. I'm currently parang in the view na baka may weight yung functional argument nila ni Justice Carpio. Otherwise, you'd have a Senate na hindi makaka-function and will not have a Senate President if this impasse na 12-10 persists.
So do you see it elevating to, say, if even a special session called for by the President fails, na talagang it will have to be the Supreme Court who will decide on this? Or yung isa pang option, hindi kaya pwedeng basta't awol na lang itong siyam na ito? Yung siyam na awol, can they just expel the 9 if the legitimacy of the block of Senator Win Gatchalian is established and recognized by everyone else or the majority? Pwede bang i-expel yung 9 and they go ahead with just 12 senators?
I think 2 steps on what will happen in the Senate. I think it's difficult to argue for expulsion for chronic absences. Again, if you look at yung larger history ng Senate, there were senators who were persistently absent in the past Congresses. So ang solution na pinoprovide ng Constitution is if, for example, walang quorum, may power yung naroon doon sa session ng minority to actually compel the arrest of senators who are not present para magkaroon ng quorum. So for example, if 11 lang yung nag-a-attend for whatever reason, pwede silang magpa-pull ng 2 para magkaroon ng quorum. But the current view, again, babalik tayo dun, yung current view kasi is 12 might be enough in this instance. Which means that if hindi a-attend yung 9 or 10 in the session, then they're actually going to cede power to the 12 on the Senate floor. Which means that it's not in their interest not to attend. Kasi otherwise, makakagawa ng business yung 12. In fact, the situation might develop to a point where the branches recognize na the 10 have effectively ceded their ability to elect a Senate President. Or that in the interest of a functioning Senate, we should probably read yung provision that says majority of all of the members to refer to just functioning members or those who are able to function. So parang hindi in the interest of the 10 not to attend. But whether it will go to the Supreme Court is a different question. I think may petition na na-file doon based on the recent press releases of the court. Parang wala pa namang action yung court on the petition. And I think it reflects what I said earlier was yung may tentativeness, iniiwasan talaga ng Korte Suprema to get involved in these types of issues if functioning pa naman. So the current situation is naka-legislative break tayo, naka-adjourn yung Senate natin. Ibig sabihin, they can't pass laws anyway. Yung committee hearings na kinoconduct, ang idea naman dyan is while they are important, pwede naman yan i-delay to when the Senate session already starts. And therefore, parang walang urgency for the court to step in at the moment.
Ayun, I was about to ask that, Corina Dean. Dapat na bang manghimasok ang korte para maayos na yung gulo dun sa Senado?
Hindi ba nagrereklamo na nga ang Korte Suprema na hindi naman lahat ng mga away-away nyo dyan, ilalapit nyo sa amin?
Ginagawa nyo kaming barangay?
Oo, parang ganon, ano?
Oo.
Pero in this case, wherein nine elected senators simply refuse to participate in what is now more and more largely accepted as the new majority. So you're saying, Dean, na posibleng mag-function and to go ahead with work as scheduled yung 12?
Yes, I mean, it will not be yung full extent of the work that the Senate does. A Senate President is important in certain functions, both ceremonial and legal. Siya yung chair, for example, ng Commission on Appointments. There may be questions on the validity of what they will do. But on the whole, ito yung mas complicated way of reading, or mas complex, but actually mas accurate way of reading the Constitution. You also have to watch the other branches. Yung executive ba, kinikilala nila yung bagong Senate presidency. Yung House or Senate acting presiding officer. Yung House of Representatives ba, kinikilala din nila yun? No? Is the rest of government able to function? Is the Senate bureaucracy recognizing a new leadership? All of this is important as yung ginagawa ng lawyers ngayon na parang himay na yung text ng Constitution. No? It's important in understanding how the Constitution actually works. Now, on the judicial intervention front, of course, yung courts can weigh in. But the reason why they let the Senate do this, usually on its own, is twofold. The first is, yung Senate kasi master of its own rules, master of its own house. In the same way na ayaw ng Supreme Court na pinapakialaman ng Senate yung internal workings nila, they wouldn't want, or the Senate might not want the Supreme Court to interfere in them. So part yun ng checks and balances and separation of powers natin. No? Hindi nakikialam yung one branch unless may constitutional violations na. The second important reason is that itong pag-iwas ng korte, normally, at least in the past, as early as 1949, for getting involved in these disputes, founded yan on a very, what we would call sa scholarship na yung prudential na consideration. So yung prudential considerations na yan, naka-found yan dun sa attempt ng court na i-preserve yung legitimacy niya, yung respect for it. And yung respect niya comes from the public perception na neutral siya. The moment that it gets into this highly political, highly polarized fight, there is a risk, no? Na even if legal lang yung ginagawa niya, kahit ano pang sabihin ng lawyers na ini-interpret ng yung Constitution, the majority of the public, which are non-lawyers, might not see it that way. They might see na pumabor siya dito sa side ni Senator Alan or pumabor siya dun sa side ni Senator Win. So as much as possible, umiiwas siya dun sa mga questions na parang mapipilitan siya to take a political stance, even if it doesn't actually do that. So at least the perception is important in yung decision ng court ultimately to intervene.
So, am I wrong when I say that this is unprecedented, kaya hindi pa natin alam what could be the outcome? And having said that, what is the extreme outcome from this na magkakaroon ng dalawang Senado? Sinabi ni Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, dalawang Senado, sabi niya, ang Senado ng Pilipinas at Senado ng Administrasyon. But then, kinilala na po din ng executive, I guess even of the House of Representatives, because the prosecutorial team is ready and said that they will participate in the Win Gatchalian block hearing. So, meron na pong, kumbaga, legitimacy in some way. So, kung talagang magmamatigas, ito pong bloke ni Senator Cayetano at walang tatalon, which is the ultimate solution, posible bang they go ahead without the 9?
So the first is whether unprecedented ito. I mean, there was a precedent in 1949, that case na we're all familiar with now, which is Avellino versus Cuenco. Now, in that case naman, yung ginawa ng court is, I think they recognized And the way that really the case is, it went on over several weeks kasi hindi naman siya one day lang na nag-decide yung court. So when the case was first brought to them, sabi nila na wala kaming power over it. But when they resolved it a little later, parang sinabi nila na nirecognize nila na nagpalit na yung power no? Kinilala na ng Pangulo, yung bagong Senate President. No? So parang nagmamatter yun. And kaya, onto the second point, important yung wait and see din dito. I don't think we can foreclose judicial intervention indefinitely. I think if it goes to a point na paralisado yung Senado, wala nang batas na napapasa, or na-hold up yung impeachment, you might well see the court intervene, but medyo mataas yung threshold nun. Kasi at the moment, ang nangyayari nga, as you pointed out, Corina, is nagsa-start na mag-recognize at mag-move on yung ibang branches na parang kinikilala nila na nagpalit na yung liderato. I think what is unprecedented here is mayroon talagang insistence yung Cayetano block or yung Cayetano wing to insist na sila pa rin yung may hawak. But the way to defend that, with all due respect, is not really through the press conferences. The way to defend that is on the Senate floor. Put it to a vote, and let it be an official action na you really divide the House and allow them to decide kung sino yung Pangulo nila. Kasi at the moment, parang nagmumukha tuloy na nagpalit na yung majority, nagkaroon na ng bagong majority, but from the outside, may nag-i-invoke ng Constitution to prevent the majority from exercising the will or the mandate that they have.
Saka halimbawa, Corina, naisip ko lang din, kapag halimbawa, 12 lang yung magtatrabaho, may mga certain functions na hindi nila pwedeng gawin. Like for example, din tama ho ba, ratifying a treaty, and kapag in the case of the impeachment trial, voting to convict an impeachable official dahil 16 votes ang
they
kailangan.
need 16.
Oo.
So ano
Yes.
po sa palagay nyo yan?
And I think that's where pumapasok yung functional argument na sinasabi nung ibang academics now. Parang the pragmatic way of looking at this is, let's say hindi siya voluntary absence. Let's say 10 yung ma-arrest from the flood control issue or any other graft issue. 14 na lang yung senators mo. Does that mean that you really need 20, first of all, 13 to attend? So isa lang ang pwede mag-absent. Pangalawa, kailangan ba nun na yung votes for passing a treaty na normally 2/3 for amending the Constitution at 3/4, lahat ba yun unattainable na for the time na naka-aresto yung 10? So hindi naman, I think the pragmatic way of looking at it is, hindi naman yun yung tinakda ng Constitution natin. And while medyo speculative pa yun at that point, I don't think kung maabot naman tayo sa number na 10 na sa kanila yung hindi magpapakita, it is a guide to understand na if you want to read the Constitution as a whole and you read it as an effective document creating government and empowering and also limiting government, hindi naman siya naging intentional na paralysis lagi yung result kapag ganito yung nangyayari. So maybe in that case, and we have to wait for the time to come so we can also see how the other branches react to that development. Maybe in that case, mag-iiba yung understanding natin kung ilan ba talaga yung required na vote. But as of the moment, what we're seeing at the very least is on the quorum issue, mukhang resolved na kahit 12 lang sila, given where they are and given the past practice of the Senate, at least they will be able to pass laws. Yung iba na lang na function yung medyo may question mark.
Talagang question mark yung impeachment.
Oo, yes.
Baka naman yun ang kanilang gustong
Goal.
mangyari.
Oo.
Na hindi talaga makakaboto for the impeachment.
Parang maho-hostage tuloy yung proseso.
Oo, kasi sabi nila din, all roads lead to either conviction or impeachment. So, pati po yung mga alliances ng magkabilang kampo, ganun din ang pananaw ng marami. Ha? So, with what it is now, hindi talaga sila pwedeng magkaroon ng hearing?
I think
Yes, go ahead.
I think they can, no? If you argue na 12 is enough for a quorum, then yung hearing of the 12 can proceed. Ang problema na lang is if the 10 or the 9 also conduct their own hearing, in which case, magbumukang dalawang Senado. But ito nga yung, I think the important response to that is, yung ba talaga yung situation? Or is it just effectively the 9 or the minority meeting outside of the proper process? Kasi baka sinasakyan din natin eh. I mean, for all intents and purposes, yung meeting ng 12 is more than the meeting of the 9 or the 10. So, sino ba yung mas compelling in terms of having a especially given that yung nature of the Senate is it's multi-member collegial body. Papaboran ba natin yung minority na nag-attend doon sa other session na mas madami yung pumupunta? So baka doon pa lang compelling na that yung valid na process would be those consisting the 12. The other problem with interpretations din kasi that say na magkakaroon ng dalawang Senate is, with all due respect, it makes the Senate President more powerful and more constitutionally important than he or she really is. Yung power is vested by the Constitution in the Senate as a body. Hindi siya vested in a single person with control over the chamber. In fact, yung tingin ng Constitution doon sa Senate President is primus inter pares lang siya. He has the same one vote as the rest of his colleagues. So, dapat in terms of trying to understand the situation, parang dapat nag-push back din siguro tayo ng onti dun sa idea that there will be two Senates. There really is just one Senate. There's just going to be one Senate. Ang tanong lang sino yung i-recognize doon. And I think it's more compelling, with all due respect, to recognize the body or the faction where they have at least a plausible majority, which is 12 of the 22, rather than 9 of the 22, or much less 24.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, UP College of Law Associate Dean Attorney Paulo Tamase. Till the next time, sir, marami pong salamat.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Parang hindi ko makuha yung sagot na gusto kong marinig. I think maybe because si Dean Tamase has not really given up on the senators. Because parang kumbaga sinasabi niya, well, of course they can function as 12, pero what about convicting or acquitting VP Sara?
Kaya gamitin daw nila itong panahon na to sana para maayos nila yung gusot. Di ba?
Well,
More than a month
everybody's
pa.
waiting on that, but it's not happening as of now. Kaya ako naman, gano'n naman kasi talaga ako, gusto kong makita kung ano lahat ng mga options para mapaghandaan ko. So, in the extreme situation na magmamatigas talaga, kasi matigas pa rin ang paninindigan ni Senate President Cayetano sa kanyang isip, siya pa rin ang Senate President. So saan ito hahantong? Puwera na lang kung may tatalon talaga.
Parang best option talaga makialam ang Korte Suprema, no? Sabihin lang kung ano yung proper, kung i-reiterate kung ano ba talaga ang tamang quorum para makapag-conduct ng business at enough na ba yun para makapag-elect ng bagong set of officers ang Senado.
Oo, at sa lahat ng mga narito ngayon sa bagong minorya, 9 silang lahat, di ba? Handa na ba silang talikuran ang lahat ng mga bumoto sa kanila bilang senador? If, for example, they resign or they just refuse to participate or acknowledge the fact that legitimate itong kay Senator Win Gatchalian. Ang daming bumoto sa kanila kaya hindi mo rin pwedeng sabihin, o chupi-chupi na kayo dyan. They are duly elected senators, all of them, Legarda, Davillars, Villanueva et al., they have a duty to their voters to participate dahil napaka-importante.
And they won't easily give up power, di ba?
Mukhang ganon. Oo, mukhang ganon. So, kumbaga nandun ulit tayo sa sana may tumalon na lang para hindi na humaba ang usapan.
Oo nga eh.
Oo.
Siguro kapag nagpatawag na ng special session, mukhang meron na.
Mukhang meron ng tumalon.
Oo.
Hindi, kung may tumalon na, tapos na ang boxing, hindi mo na kailangan ng special session.
Pero kailangan nila i-formalize yun sa floor eh.
Okay.
Yan.
So, ewan ko, bakit kaya hindi pa tumatawag ng special session ang Malacanang, no? Titingnan po natin. Exciting pa rin, pero ayan, magmamarites tayo ng magmamarites hanggang ito po ay maresolba.